Good afternoon. Welcome to Michelle's Planning Nook. I am a brand new channel and I'm excited to be here. This afternoon, well, it's at least this afternoon when I'm recording this, I'm going to show you how I use my reading planner to journal about the books that I read. I am going to show you from the monthly from November, because I have that basically completely filled out, and from one specific week in November. And there's a reason why. I read a very short book that week, and then I started another book, and the short book I read, I was able to put it in my planner, and it doesn't really give anything away, so that if somebody wants to read the book, it doesn't ruin anything for them. And the other book I read, I have my notes on that book somewhere else, and once this video is uploaded, then I will put that in there. But when we get there, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So to start off, let's go straight to November. My November monthly here. Each month, I try to set myself a few reading goals: read 6 books, read for an hour each day, and to read one nonfiction book. Well, I did read 6 books. I didn't read for an hour every day. There were a few days I read for 30 minutes, and then 6 days I didn't read at all. And I did not read one nonfiction book. But overall, I did really, really well. On my daily reading tracker, I don't go by pages. I go by time read. Pink is did not read, orange is 15 minutes, yellow is 30 minutes, the teal is 1 hour, and purple is 1 hour plus. And I have not been decorating these pages. 2024, I will start, because my reading planner is going to be part of my decorating, what I will be decorating each week. But the colors that I use, I've been switching out each month. So they'll be changing. They'll obviously be matching whatever stickers I use as I decorate. What I do here, the book of the month, I have been putting the Happy Readers and Planners book here each month. What I will probably be doing once my Patreon gets going, is I will divide this into 3 boxes and put like Happy Readers and Planners, Romantics, and Thrillers. And that way I've got all 3 books here for that. This says favorite book of the month, or favorite book this month. What I normally do here is I put my favorite quote of the month. I haven't had an issue so far yet to where my favorite quote did not come from my favorite book. If I did, I would probably just make a paper sticker that says favorite quote. But for November, my favorite book was Iron Flame, and my favorite quote from that book was "My house, my chair, my woman." Zayden Ryerson said it in the book, and if you've read the book, you understand. Total books read for the month was 6, which was my goal. And my rating key, these do not change, but the colors do change each month. So 1 star is a DNF, 2 stars is a meh, 3 is a good book, 4 is a great, and 5 is amazing, and I'm going to talk your ears off about the book. This month I read Don't Let Her Stay, which was a really, really good book. It was also a very short story too. No, that one wasn't a short story. I'm sorry. My Evil Mother, that one was a short story. And that one was a meh. Short Stories from Hogwarts, that was a good book, but the reason I gave it a meh is because it was so short. And I'll go into that when we go into the week. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, those are absolutely amazing. If you don't read fantasy and you don't think you'll like fantasy, go read Fourth Wing. I never read fantasy before. I've tried to read it, didn't like it. And then I read Fourth Wing and I absolutely love it now. Actually, they call it romantasy, but it is absolutely amazing. And then, of course, I read The Housemaid. That's the second time I read it in 2023. I love Frida McFadden. She is great. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to reading The Housemaid's Secret. But that is basically how I use this page. Now, the monthly here, let me lift this up, that way it's not so far down, you can see it better. I use my monthly by keeping track of how long it took me to read books. I actually started Don't Let Her Stay in October, but when that happens, I put the book that I was reading at the first of the month and bring it in. That way I know what book it was. And then I just carry it on, and I find breaking it up with 2 different washi tapes just makes it a little more colorful to me. That's the way I like it. And I have done 3 washi tapes before, just depending on how much reading I did. On my sidebar, I use this for releases and like books I'm receiving from Libby. The only one I was even expecting this month was Iron Flame, which I had purchased in October, and it was being delivered directly to me from Amazon on November 7th. Well, actually, Iron Flame and the special edition Fourth Wing was, but I didn't put that down because I already had Fourth Wing. But so that's what I use this for. And if you do any ARCs, you could put those there also. For any that you're expecting. I have not gotten into ARCs yet. I'm almost afraid to. Now for the weekly. This is where I was referring to. As you notice, I had that sheet of filler paper on the other side to block out the information. That's because I didn't want anybody who has not read Fourth Wing to accidentally see any spoilers. This here is how I use this weekly. I date it, and then as I read each day, I take notes. I normally read in Kindle, and in Kindle, you can take notes. If I see something that is, something pops out to me that is questionable, I will make a note on it. I'll take a note in Kindle, and then the next morning when I'm doing my journaling and all that stuff, I pull up my Kindle notes and I jot them all down in here. And if I don't have enough room, I will add a sheet of filler paper and put Tuesday and whatever else didn't fit in here. And then when we do our Google Meets for the book we've read, I have all these notes of stuff that, hey, I was thinking this when I read it, or I was questioning this. I've got all that information, which makes it really nice. And when I did reread Fourth Wing, I did take notes. I have all those notes on a separate piece of paper, and once this video is uploaded, I will properly upload it on YouTube. Then I will go back and input my notes, and November will be done. So, but how I use the currently reading, the reading weekly goal, and the weekly habit tracker, and the finished reading, I do that just depending. Like I read Short Stories from Hogwarts one day, and then I started Fourth Wing on Tuesday, and it took me almost a week to read that. So, since I was reading Fourth Wing the majority of the week, I put currently reading Fourth Wing. But the only book I finished reading the week of the 6th through the 12th was Short Stories from Hogwarts. I put it down there. And I give it the rating that I gave it on this first page over here, which was the 2 stars, and I used the same colors. And then I give a little my thoughts. Love the in-depth look into the backstories of other characters, which is basically what it was. It was just a backstory on McGonagall, Lupin, and Trelawney. You basically learn their, and this is not giving anything away whatsoever. You learn their childhood, well, you learn their education, the backstory on their parents, and their marital statuses. And it goes in depth on that stuff, but it's still really short. It was a good read. I thought it could have gone a little more in depth, which is why I gave it a meh. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I'm not as in depth as some of the other Harry Potter fans, but I am a Harry Potter fan. The reading weekly goal, you can change that up. It doesn't have to be the same as your monthly goal. For the month of November and the rest of the year, I have been keeping it as the 1 hour daily for me to just check off, which I did that week, no problem. But you can do that however you want to do it. I normally do a favorite quote down here. I'm not going to show any other pages because if you haven't read the book, I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. Most people have seen the Harry Potter movies or they've read the books, and that's why I don't have an issue showing this, because even though this is in here, it still doesn't give anything about the book away. And that's why I feel comfortable showing this. But there really wasn't a quote about from the book that I felt was worth putting down here, and that's why I've left this blank. What I may do is go back and put one of my favorite quotes from Fourth Wing down here. But I normally do a quote from whatever book I finished reading. Even if I didn't think it was a great book, I still find a quote from the book to put down there. Because sometimes there's still really good quotes, even in bad books. But that is how I use the weekly pages. Now, you don't have to do that. If you just want to get a notebook and jot down notes, go for it. That's how, go for it. You do you. But this is how I use it. Now, the end of the planner. Let me get there. Book reviews. All of my book reviews are currently in my other reading planner. And I've been using the Plan with Elise book reviews. They have 3 on 1 page. And honestly and truly, that's probably what I'm going to continue to use. And the reason why is I can get 6 on a page versus 4, which means less paper in my planner. And I have a feeling 2024, this one's going to get pretty chunky, which is why it's on big discs. The book club schedule. I have not used this. I will be starting this in 2024. And I think I'm going to make one for happy readers and planners and one for each Patreon, one for the romantics and one for the thrillers, which the meeting location is going to be Google Meets, but it's just a way to keep up with when the meetings were and what book title and author it was about. These, I am hoping Heather comes out with more of these. because, or otherwise I'm going to have to make some up myself, because I want to do one of these for every single Google Meets that we do on a book. But what I plan on doing is, because whenever we do a Google Meet on a book, I actually go in and find discussion questions on those books, the specific questions for each book. But I plan on starting in 2024 going ahead and filling this out ahead of time. And then I will be putting those discussion questions for each one in the center here. But I have the discussion questions for all the books so far in there. And basically, that's how I plan on using it. And the one thing I did not go over, hold on. Right here it is, was my monthly reading log. Since I'm keeping my books in here, in the monthly, right here, I think I am going to start using this here as a TBR list for each month, because we get so many books recommended to us that it's a good place to keep up with it. And then what I don't get read, I can transfer it over to the next month. Or I can divide it up, because I don't always get a chance to read 6, 7, 8 books. I can do monthly reading log and a TBR list at the bottom. So, but see, I didn't put the date started here on Don't Let Her Stay, because I started it in October. But I did put the finish date. And for October, I have Don't Let Her Stay here. I never put the author down, but I never put the date finished here. So, but that is how I have been using those. But I will be doing a setup for my reading planner, because she is going to be getting a little bit of a facelift. The insides will probably stay the same. I'll be adding a few pages, but she will be getting a little bit of a facelift. So if you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you soon with a setup video for my 2024 reading planner. And I will also be getting out a few more setup videos prior to the new year. They'll be out after Christmas. And I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. And thank you for being here with us.